Okay, Chad Lubinsky with Hiker Trash Nation coming at you again with another review. Today we're going to be looking at the Altra TIMPs 1.5 after 200 miles. Yes, I am wearing an Randall's Uptown Bar hat. Represent for the family bar back home in Mauston, Wisconsin. If you're ever going on vacation in Mauston, Wisconsin, the highly unlikely chance that you are, make sure to stop there. Okay, so please subscribe to the channel if you like this video and all my other ones, and please leave a like. It helps me and it helps the channel. And then I'm going to leave a link in case you want to buy the TIMPs in the description. And buying from that link, it's no extra cost to you, but it helps out the channel. So what's my overall review for the Altra TIMP 1.5s? So I'm just going to get into it real quick, and then I'll get into some of the descriptors or why I think that, just for people that that just want to know the review. So I created my own little review rating system, okay, and it's kind of based on like a hiking review system or scale. So here's how it goes. So if I would recommend buying, I'm gonna call it a triple. I'm gonna give it a triple crown rating, okay? And that's because that is like the top notch, the epitome of through hiking, okay? That's when you hike the Pacific Crest Trail, Continental Divide Trail, and then Appalachian Trail. Pretty much you're a badass. The in-between rating, where it's like, hey, you might consider buying it, but you know, not to the level of the triple crown or the absolute buy, is going to be a ramen rating. Okay, ramen simply is like, hey, come back from trail and you know you're super hungry, and ramen will definitely, you know, it definitely hits that spot, but it's not like a backpacker's, you know, pad thai. So, you know, middle of the line. And then the last one is mosquitoes. I don't have to even go into that. So what is my review for the Altra TIMP 1.5? And that would be a triple crown. Okay. I would use these over the Lone Peaks that I reviewed before for trail running 100%. And I'll get into a little bit of why that would be. And then I would never, like, I'm getting into trail running a lot more, and the reason I had been is because training for the John Muir Trail. But number one, I love it way more than road running. And at this point, I'm going to buy another pair of TIMPs once I trash these. So what are some of the pros with the Altra TIMPs? So number one, they have enough cushion to really take the up and down pounding of trail running, for me at least. Again, I've trail ran a little bit with the Lone Peaks. There's not enough cushion, at least for me. And so the TIMPs are a little bit more cushiony than the Lone Peaks, especially for trail running. So after 200 miles, after 200 miles, these things are literally feel the same to me, like cushion-wise. You know, I've lost a little bit of traction and stuff like that, but I mean, that's just normal wear. I also wear these on the road because I'm too cheap to buy a alternate road pair. So, you know, that probably has something to do with it as well. Now, the other cool little feature about the TIMPs is that they have like this little waterproofing kind of thing going on at the tip of the shoe, okay? And I didn't even notice this when I bought it, but the reason I like this, and the reason I like this is because, again, when you're in wet conditions, Pacific Northwest, it's always wet, it's always raining here, it gives it a little bit more waterproof protection. And I don't know if they did that on purpose or what that was for, but I really like that. And the other thing with that is that I'm going to be using these shoes for hunting. I used the Lone Peaks last year and they did well, but because there's a little more cushioning with these, and for that little waterproofing tip there, because you're always going through wet brush, whether it's in the mornings or whatever with the dew. Honestly, like this little waterproof tip here prevents a lot of moisture from coming into your shoe. And it's just a simple little thing, but I found it super helpful, especially when you're off trail. Now, if you're using it on trail and you're trail running, it really doesn't matter. I mean, my shoes would always get wet. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you're running. So, but with hunting, at least I want to be as comfortable as possible, and that kind of prevents a lot of that wet from soaking in there. And then if it does get wet, obviously these are trail runners, so they dry out super quick. Now the other thing is durability. Now I read a lot of reviews on the TIMPs that said the durability was not good. Now these are, obviously they're all muddy. They're muddy as hell because I used them the other day. I have had no issues with durability. Zero issues. I mean, you can see from the mesh, there's no rips, there's nothing. Nothing is ripped, nothing has came off. I mean, there has been no durability issues whatsoever. I'm at 200 miles. I am so hard on my gear, so that's why I feel comfortable reviewing some of these things, because I am so tough on my gear. I mean, the last 3 months that I've had these, I have been running in rain, in mud. I mean, taking them on hikes, Elk Kings Mountain. I mean, running on the road, everything that you can think of. So these things have held up to the test. I have seen no durability issues, at least for these, for the first 200 miles. The other cool thing about these is that the strings don't become magically untied. With the Lone Peaks, I don't get it, but right, these strings, I've never really had any issues with that. One thing I did want to bring up is this is my right side shoe. So if you notice, I have two different lacing systems, and I just simply looked this up, and I'll put a link in the description here, but this right side is called a straight bar lace, and this is just the left side here, or your right, I don't know, I don't know how this is going to look on the video. But anyway, this one is like your traditional lacing. This is the straight bar lace, right? So the reason I went straight bar lace on this right side is because I needed a little bit more width in my shoe because of my bunion. Yes, 2 videos in a row talking about bunions. You just can't escape it. But yeah, I needed a little more width. I mean, these are super wide shoes anyways, and that's just how Altra is. But I need a little bit more width to kind of help that bunion. Now, the reasons why is because I would notice that my foot around 3-4 miles would start to become numb. And that's happened in any shoe that I've ever worn when I run, and I think that is because of my bunion on my right side of my foot. I don't know. When I switched to the straight bar lace, it alleviates that pressure more. So my foot would still kind of go numb, but it would become number. It would become numb later in my runs and not as intense. So I do think that the straight bar lacing has helped. Another thing is if your shoes aren't fitting that well, you can try the runner's knot, I think it's called. You can leave a link to that as well. And that's just a little bit different way of lacing at the top, where you can really, it really forms to your heel and keeps your heel locked in. So cons for the Altra TIMP. Really, I only have one con with it, and what it is that when I'm running, especially on the road, and if I'm on like sidewalk cement and it's wet, or I'm running in the rain, for whatever reason, this bottom traction piece here is a little bit slippery. So I'll kind of be slipping a little bit. I can feel I don't have that good of traction when it's wet like that. It's kind of weird because when I get like on a road surface, like an actual road surface rather than the sidewalk, it grips better. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. And because I've never tried other trail running shoes before besides the Lone Peak, well, I guess I have tried so the Lone Peak, I would say, is more grippy, right? I mean, I would say that the bottom is way more grippy than this. But like I said, it has minimal cushion, so you have a trade-off. I've taken these obviously to run. I mean, obviously the Pacific Northwest is rainy and muddy all the time, and when I'm running in the mud, these do pretty well unless I'm at a super steep incline and I'm trying to run up the mud there. I mean, I'm slipping and sliding everywhere. Again, I don't know how that goes with other trail runners, if that's kind of the same. I do think that the Lone Peaks would probably grip that mud a little bit better, but either way, I mean, it's a steep part of the trail where it's going to be, unless you have frickin' micro spikes, I don't know how a shoe isn't going to slip there. So yeah, that would be my only con with the Altra Timps. So that's my review. I appreciate everybody watching. Please drop a comment in the comment box below. Let me know your experience with the Altra Timps and if they work for you. And we will talk to you later with another review. Thanks.